It's me and Dr. V, and he didn't even smile. And look at him. I said something to him before the show began. I said something and I bummed him out. I didn't mean to. I'm so sorry, Dr. V. I didn't mean to bum you out. I know reality's tough to accept, and I'm sorry I threw a little reality out there, a dash of reality, and broke your dream and whatever. I'm sorry, Dr. V. I didn't mean to do it.
Sorry.
You feeling better? Can you give us a smile? You spend so much time looking. What a fake smile that is. Oh, my Lord, as we get into this thing. Okay, y'all. Oops, come on, baby. Look at him. Somebody's got him to Spartacus. Is that you? Talk to Volps. Tell him to smile. We've had it. He's so much nicer when he smiles. Here we go. Whoever's here saw the title. Let's make sure everyone understands. We are an opinion show. We arrive at our opinions based on facts that we find by looking into different media, whether it's video or it's reading or audio. We put it together. I do the Times, the Post, the Journal, Fox, News Nation, CNBC, CNN, and MS Now. Focus on all those and then get other stuff on the side, get all the reading in. Volps reads 5 times more than me because he's 5 times smarter than I am. And I can't stay up with him, though he's just sucking down numbers. You see, he reads numbers. I read words, he reads numbers, and we come together and become the perfect team. It's just the perfect team that way, okay? So here we go. Let's talk about what's going on. I'm going to start with Joe Rogan. Okay, Volps? Joe Rogan. I listen to Joe Rogan sometimes. And then I heard he talked about what's going on in Minnesota. Let's talk about what's going on in Minnesota. We said on Sunday that we saw a killing there. This woman was killed. She tried to turn away from the ICE agent. I asked at that point if this ICE agent's defense was, Joe, hey, that he had been dragged under a car before. Couldn't he have PTSD and issues he's got to deal with and maybe should have an analysis? I don't think you disagreed with me at that point. I'm not a doctor, and he's not your patient, but we talked about that. And now what's happening is this. We are watching the President of the United States send in another 1,000 troops. We talked about this when they first funded ICE with the billions and billions of dollars. Please go back to Just an American Citizen. It's there. I said on all of them, it's going to become Trump's national police. That he's going to be coming after everybody with the national police. And that's what it is. This is not ICE or Border Patrol. What borders are they taking care of or protecting? The borders are shut down. Meanwhile, he's bringing in more people, giving them 47 days of training, 50 grand or whatever, and says, go out in the streets and do what you want to do. Joe, we got a problem. So I'm listening to Joe Rogan because Joe's been pushing me more. I want everybody to understand. Everyone thinks Dr. V is the laid back one. Dr. V is the real cool one. Just, Mark, he's just the lunatic. Mark's the lunatic. No, it's really the other way around. Dr. V's the lunatic. Mark's the laid back one. Let's make sure we understand here. Joe Rogan said this is like Gestapo in Minnesota. He said they're having masked men breaking windows, handcuffing Americans, and do we now have to take with us ID, identification around the country to prove we're Americans? And does it even matter? Because they are taking down Americans. They're beating them up. You're putting 4, 5, 6 of these guys. They're thugs. They got masks on. Some don't, but most do. They're thugs. They're taking down these Americans. They're beating them up. And they're carrying them off. And then after they beat them up and carry them off, Joe, then they just leave them after they finally find out they're American. You can't even prove it. It's easier. These thugs just go up to the windows, break the windows, take it over. Now, take over the car. Now, let's understand something. You can't get in the way of a federal officer or an officer doing his or her job. That's just the law. You can't. They're going somewhere. They're going to take somebody down. They're doing it, okay? They have the right to do it. However, they don't have the right to beat up Americans. They don't have the right to take protesters and throw them to the ground and beat them up. older people, younger people, these masked thugs. And that's what the whole focus is. They're just going in and attacking Americans. And I think it's time for people to understand history, Joe, because it wasn't taught in the classrooms. Back in the days when you and I were growing up, they had something called the Civil Rights Movement. People don't know what that's about unless you listen to Donald Trump, who says the Civil Rights Movement just hurt white people. I love hearing that, this basic sicko, okay, because that's where he is right now. 80-year-old guy who's totally lost it, full of power and doing what he wants. During the Civil Rights era, we talked about this, Joe, 6-8 months ago and said, look, the key is nonviolent protests. Nonviolent protests. Remember, Joe, I was jumping around all over it because what ends up happening is when you got nonviolent protests and the ICE in this situation, these thugs attack people and hurt them and take them down knowing they're Americans, people see this on TV. What we saw growing up, for everyone to understand, was there really wasn't color television then. We were kids. It was black and white. And what we saw were cops with billy clubs beating black people, Americans. What we saw with our eyes in black and white on Walter Cronkite or on Huntley Brinkley or on Frank Reynolds. Yeah, I remember them all. ABC, CBS, and NBC. What we saw were fire hoses when they took the fire hoses and squirted them on people to knock them over. When we saw them take people from sitting down at a table to be able to eat at a restaurant, and we saw these people taken and beaten. Dr. King, Martin Luther King, was beaten. All these people were beaten and thrown into jail, but they were non-violent. They were non-violent, Joe, and that's what got people's attention. Because when people start seeing that these thugs, which is really what these ICE people are just beating up Americans who are doing nothing but exercising their First Amendment right. Even if they're in the way, they're being nonviolent. You're violent, you lose. But being nonviolent and carried in and beaten up when you're being nonviolent, to just run with it will make, I believe, the right wing have a real problem. Look, you look at the polls now, the polls are saying people don't like it. The more people see Americans beaten up, the more people see thugs running around in masks, in big chests, with big guns and all this stuff on, like they're ready to go into Vietnam and fight, or wherever, Iran, wherever they wanted to go. It looks like Vietnam. It looks like what we grew up with. And then you turn around and look at this. Look at Iran. Everybody's talking about Iran. It's everywhere. You have a revolution going on there. Joe and I have a little disagreement about that here in America, but you have a revolution going on there. We say right on Iranians, you're doing the right thing. They're not nonviolent. They're violent because they have to go forward because it's a revolution. In America, these people are being nonviolent and being beaten up by the thugs who are wearing masks, and they are thugs. They're no more than that. Joe Rogan, I got to come back to Joe Rogan, says it's like the Gestapo. We are there. We say this every week. How many times we say this, Joe? Twice a week. Devo. We are devolving. This is what America was in the late 50s, early 60s, and through the mid 60s. It got worse. We're getting people. It got worse, and it was running. And I'm asking for those of you watching, please go on Just American Citizens, see some of this stuff. I've been on top of this, all of our live stuff there, and my stuff for the last 10 years has been there. We've been on top of this. Please subscribe. But we're looking at nonviolence here, nonviolence getting beaten up by these thugs. Think about it. As we go forward, not only that, when these thugs attack Americans and knock in their windows, what happens? Their leaders, Trump, Vance, say right away, they're right. They can do whatever they want. They have total immunity. This is all the Supreme Court's fault because they gave Trump total immunity and he's running with it and says everybody has it underneath him. That's the major part of the problem. Those supines who are in his back pocket, 2 of them at all times, and then it makes it tough just trying to get some others to come over with some real let's say, Yiddish up some thoughts, some ideas about what's going on instead of being owned by the cult. Though two of them, Thomas and Alito, are totally owned by the cult. So you sit there and you go, here we are. Remember what happened when Miss Good got shot. Noam got on there and said, wow, they were all, the ICE people were stuck on a big ice mound. Remember, a snow mound, and they were being attacked and surrounded. Nothing. Does anybody talk about that? No, that's a lie. Then you go to Vance, who always lies, the man who talks about immigrants eating cats and dogs. He's sitting there lying. But then we take it a step further. There has been I'm sure everybody's talking about the fraud in Minnesota and how we have to meet the fraud in Minnesota. I'm sure I'm not looking in the MoshPit. I assume people are talking about that. That's the excuse Trump uses, just like he used the excuse of drugs to take out Maduro when he really wanted oil. So they come in here and Trump says, this is his great, he's the great disuniter. Trump comes in and goes, look, she's horrible. It's a real problem. She's being paid. And I'm sending in 1,000 more troops. And I'm sending in new federal attorneys to prosecute these people, when the lead federal prosecutor, who was going after the fraud, this Somalian fraud everybody likes to talk about in Minnesota, which is an incredible amount of money, but it has to be brought down. But the man who led it, I think his name was John Thompson, quit. He's the guy, the head federal prosecutor, who brought down the whole fraud. And he and 5 other attorneys have quit from that office because they are not being allowed to be involved in the investigation of what went on of this ICE agent who shot the American in the head and then took 2 more pot shots at her. And we're supposed to feel sorry for him. I hear he's hiding. I don't feel sorry for him. The idea, cops, used to be that everybody worried about cops, but cops don't wear masks. Cops, their badge number. Cops do things by the book now. They're the ones you're not afraid of. The ones to be afraid of are the thugs brought in. And the problem with cops is there aren't enough of them. So you have a few hundred cops, 200, 300, 400, depending on your town, and they can only do so much while ICE is running in going, why won't they protect us? Why won't they protect us? When ICE has guns, you see those guns? You see those pepper balls? You see how they beat these people? Who needs the cops? They don't care because we've got billions of dollars pumped towards them. Now the question is, will Congress do something about this? Is Congress going to let more money keep flowing to ICE? ICE is not American. We have to abolish ICE. We're right at that point. It's not a matter of, they're always talking about getting rid of the cops. That was horrible. Defund the police was dumb. We don't need an ICE. We have a border patrol. You keep people on the borders. Trump did a great job there. All ICE has become is a bunch of thugs. And what has happened in America, we keep talking about Devo, is we just had our Kent State. People probably don't remember Kent State. What was it, 71, Joe? Kent State, the cops are out there, or 70, I think maybe it was 70, 69, 70. Not the cops, the troops were on Kent State's campus and killed an American kid, killed her, and then shot others, killed them. More, they did that, and people went, wow, this is not supposed to happen. They killed him down in Jackson State too, Joe. In Jackson State, Mississippi, they killed him down there at the school. And people went, wow, how is this any different? The difference is back then people went, man, we've got to think about this. And government said, I didn't want to kill Americans, but we have a president who doesn't care because he keeps talking about retribution. What's his retribution? Retribution on Minnesota, Joe. What's the retribution? Is he Zeus sitting from on high, throwing down his lightning bolts? Retribution. Retribution. I'm going to kill more Americans. Retribution. I don't know what the MoshPit's saying, Joe. We're getting some people. I think the MoshPit's rocking, and I assume you're kicking some butt with them. The butt. He's smiling.
The MoshPit is in rare form today.
I love it. Do it, MoshPit. I'm going to be jumping in there.
Yeah,
So
Chad's not going to like the mosh pit today.
I can't worry about them. Bottom line is, I love our mosh pit, and I love that people are getting crazy. I hope you're calling people names. You're wasting time. If you're saying stuff like that, you're wasting time. It doesn't matter. But the fact is that this is the devolution. But we are going back. We are the civil rights time, the Vietnam War time. This is what it is. When people die by the hands of the government. Back then, you had some real crazies. The Panthers killed some people, which was wrong. You had the SLA, which was killing people, which was horrible. But now it's a different ball game. We don't have thugs of Americans doing anything. We have thugs in uniform. And let me ask you this. Why aren't these ICE thugs in Houston? You ever been to Houston? You know, Houston, Joe, I bet you has a lot of quote unquote illegal aliens all over the place. Why aren't these ICE thugs in Dallas? They probably have all these quote unquote illegal aliens. Why aren't they down in Alabama? I'm not just talking about the cities. I'm talking about the outside the cities where there are all these illegal aliens in Mississippi, in Alabama, in all these, in Louisiana, not the city, but the areas around it where they're all able to get away. And I'm totally against what this guy's doing, but he's focusing strictly on quote unquote blue cities. Blue, this is America. Blue, we're all red, white, and blue. When are people going to understand that? This is such a great country, and we are being ripped apart by a cult leader. Let's read something to you, Joe. I always like this one. I'm not going to sing it, but it says it all. This is about Trump talking. You gave me fortune. You gave me fame. You gave me power in your God's name. I'm every person you need to be. Oh, I'm the cult of personality. Okay? Living Color. Great album. Great song. That song was on the album. Bottom line, that's Donald Trump. He doesn't care about the polls. He doesn't care about Americans. He doesn't care about you. He doesn't care about people in the mosh pit. These people in the mosh pit are saying, oh, the government, it's all government. We should roll over and do what they want. Let me tell you something, Hoss. You either hang alone or you hang together. And when people start allowing the leaders, the power, the rich to separate us, that's what's going on. Trump, Vance, no, they're all loaded. They're just separating us. It doesn't matter to them. So as soon as they separate us, they got what they want. They've got the power. They've got the cult, and they can keep doing what they want and keep running. But it's not going to work, because the more you beat the people, the more they're going to put it out there. They don't want people coming in with their cameras and taking shots at it. They're afraid of that. That's the truth. That's why they're taking people down. But it's going to happen. It's going to keep going. Joe, I'm going to hit it again. Nonviolence. That's the answer. Because when you deal nonviolently with thugs who are in uniforms with masks, not the Lone Ranger or Zorro, the only good people in masks, when you don't have them in that way, people see it and people understand what's going on. But you have to keep with the nonviolence. And then remember, we're in a situation where every federal prosecutor is walking away, and Trump refuses to allow anybody do an investigation of this guy who killed Ms. Good, this guy who probably has PTSD, this guy who probably or possibly needs analysis, this guy who got yanked by a car, yanked down the street, horrible, comes back 6 months later, and Vance uses that as his excuse, the guy's excuse to blow away the American. To blow away an American. It is absolutely sick. Rule of law, they're breaking their own regs. You're supposed to de-escalate. All these guys are taught, I don't know in 47 days what they're taught. I sure like to see it. To de-escalate, to walk away, let it go. You don't want to get hurt. You don't want to kill someone else. But that's different here. It's escalation. Bringing in another 1,000 shock troops is escalation. That's where it's going. And I'm going to say it again. All you guys who say, Mark, Joe Rogan calls it Gestapo. I'm not calling it that, but I'm not disagreeing with him. Joe, don't give me the morals. Tell me what's going on, Joe. Lay it out. It's yours.
I don't know. I'm looking at the mosh pit discussion, and it's pretty discouraging.
Why?
People not looking at facts. They're not. They're ignoring evidence. And
are they telling us what the evidence is, Joe? Since you've been
no,
watching
it's mostly name calling and that sort of thing. And it's, we're going to get the democracy we deserve, which is no democracy if people don't wake up. But what can you do?
Trump does. These people don't understand. If they found their car in the middle of one of these ICE attacks, okay, they would take these guys out. They would break their windows and they yank them out of the car. They don't understand. Nobody's any different. These are Americans. They're taking out white people, black people, Hispanic people. There was a video on Google the other day. I saw it. I wish I had it so I could send everybody to it, where one of these ICE guys got picked up for drunk driving. Drunk on his backside, okay? You see him, he gets out of the car and he looks at the cop and he says, "Are you Honduran?" What? The guy's a cop. This guy is drunk on his butt and he's supposed to be a ICE agent, and he's questioning the cop who pulled him over because he's drunk. Now, I'm not going to talk about, I don't know if that guy has a drinking problem. I'm not getting into any of that. But if you look at that video, he had a real problem. And he's looking at, he's like, "Are you in Honduras?" No, you shut up. It's amazing. These ICE guys and Trump and Vance and Noam want everybody to shut up when they deal with the ICE people. But when the ICE people get pulled over, when they're breaking the law, they can say whatever they want. This is facts. All you guys in the mosh pit, I don't see your stuff yet because I get enraged when I do, and I love it, and I jump right in. Unfortunately, it's not a Pearl Jam concert. But the bottom line here is that's the evidence. It's all there. Are you afraid? I'm looking at the messages, Joe. Are you all afraid of what your eyes say? Are you all afraid of what the truth is? Are you all afraid to say, "Hey, government, you're wrong"? Are you all afraid to say that the cult leader is ripping you off? Understand what's going on with the economy while he's taking people down. The Wall Street Journal had a great article on January 13th. CPI hotter an increase of 3% in December and 2.7 over the last 12 months. It's not coming down, but food is up 7%. Shelter 0.7%. Shelter is up 0.4%. Medical care is up 0.4%. Electricity and gas are up 7.7% over the year. Tenant and household insurance rose 8.7%. Yet at the same time, the labor report said that income growth rose only 1.1% over 12 months. That's why Trump loves to do these attacks. That's why Trump is unleashing the thugs on Americans. He doesn't want the truth to get out. The Journal put this out. It was right there, January 13th. You want facts? Read it. Get in there. Find out what the facts are. That's the fact, Joe, and they're hiding it. How about Epstein? They've only released 1% of the Epstein files, according to the Congress. 1%. Are they getting any more out there? No. They would rather sick their thugs on Americans. They'd rather sick their thugs and kill people. That's what they'd rather do. Let it happen because it's wrong. I'm doing my retribution. I had to say it a second time. I'm listening to this guy. What is his retribution? He's loaded. He's a billionaire. He and his family are sucking money down like there's no tomorrow in the position he's in. He can do whatever he wants to do because the supine court gave him almost total immunity. So he runs with it. He runs with it. Those losers on the Supreme Court. So he runs with it and then uses that power to run so that you and the mosh pit who are taken up for this cult leader can let him get away with the grift, the money, the letting Americans die or injure Americans and go after them. Oh, he's throwing his finger at people too. I love that. That was another great move by Trump. Somebody can't yell at him. I think it's okay. But did you read about that, Joe? In Detroit, he's up there talking. Somebody's yelling at him. He throws the bird at him. So Trump can do that, right? but the employee was suspended. Why was the employee suspended? We don't have a First Amendment right to talk. You got to sit there. He's the only one who can talk. The emperor, the king. Is that how the game works? I'm telling you, it's too obvious. It's too obvious what's going on in this country. I'm not going to speak for Joe. I don't think it's a revolution. I don't think it's any of that kind of stuff. But I think it's really bad. And I think what the Great Disuniter is doing is setting us up for civil, I don't want to use the word war. I don't know what other word to use. Civil, just setting us aside, splitting us apart. So this country, which used to be so great, is just going down the tubes because we are supporting people who are doing what they should do. But when Americans stand up and Americans do their thing, goodbye. Let's throw something else in. How about this is the peace guy, the guy who wants his Nobel Prize. He wants the lady who won it from Argentina to give it to him, Venezuela to give it to him, right? But there's war everywhere with him. Everywhere he goes is where he's going to now. What's he going to do? Send out the F-35s against Greenland? Is that the next move? We're going to bomb Greenland? Is that where we're going with this thing? And what's he doing in Iran? He's no different than Obama. He does his red line. You never know. He'll do something, maybe a little thing. But he does it. I'm giving you a red line. I'm tough. Everybody kills everybody. You kill the people, I'm coming after you. Then he says today, oh, they're not killing anybody. They've only killed a few thousand. That's kind of like the way he talks about Putin, his buddy, not his buddy. He loves Putin. He's Putin's little puppy dog. Putin is sitting there, we don't read about just smashing Ukraine. He doesn't give Ukraine weapons. He doesn't give them to Europe so Europe can sell it to them. He doesn't do anything. He lets that stuff happen. That's where we are. The three prongs. It's 1984. We are Oceania. He just says it's power and he wants it all. Remember, you guys in the mosh pit, he says what's moral is what I think is moral. How sick is that? Not sick good, but sick really bad. Joe, I haven't looked at the mosh pit. I'm feeling your vibes from the mosh pit, and I'm just talking to him without it. But I have to assume that's where it is. Give me evidence. Where am I wrong? Instead of getting mad, instead of calling people names, I'm sure there's religious jive going on. I'm sure I'm being called Mike Lindell and all that kind of, which is okay. And which all that kind of stuff. But where is the facts that say we're wrong? Are your eyes lying to you? You ever seen Kash Patel with the eyes like that all the time? The FBI director, the eyes are wide open. Open your eyes like he opens his eyes and see what's going on. Accept the facts. Accept the truth. We are in a real problem here. Trump is not going to care. He's not going to care no matter what happens. We're in a position where we're going to have to win elections and come 2020, the end of 2026 here. But people have to be nonviolent and take this guy on and let the Republicans know they ain't getting reelected. Let these MAGAs know, no way. KNOW, way. And that's the way it is. Joe, you want me to jump into the mosh pit or you want to say something?
Go into the mosh pit. Check it out.
Okay, I haven't gone there, Joe. I'm hitting it. There it is. They're going about. Who cares about Ukraine? Oh, yeah, we don't care about. We're talking about Iran, right? But we're not talking about a democracy. We're not talking about the issue isn't Ukraine, guys. The issue is Russia. The issue is Russia coming in and just trying to take over Europe. We have no NATO. It's over. Remember, we said it. I've been saying, please go into Just American Citizen. I've been saying it. We have no friends. We have no allies. We were the hegemon. We aren't anymore. Oh, really? No real point? I like this guy. You can't give us no real point. The point is, Ashlew, or I'm sorry, that's your name, Ashlew. The point is, open your eyes and see the death and destruction that Trump is bringing on and his troops are bringing in. ICE, of course, that's the point. You can't miss it. Saying there's no point means you are just hiding your head in the sand like an ostrich. And when your head comes up, you're going to see everything going around. You ain't going to be happy because he's going to take your rights away like he's taking everybody else's. Let's keep going here. Only wrong because the other guys do it. They're both. I said at the beginning, Samuel, that you gotta follow. You have to understand that the feds have the right to do what they're doing. by going after people, and you don't have the right to get in front of them. But if you do get in front of them and you want to protest, the way people protested the civil rights in the Vietnam era, and you do it nonviolently, and you're willing to sit there and get cuffed and taken to jail, right on. But what these guys do is they jump you with 5 people, they beat you, destroy your car, and then they drop you off a mile down the road and say, oh, you finally proved you're American. That's what's happening. It isn't the other guy. They're all doing it, okay? Luigi, another sicko Luigi, killing people. Who cares, right? Death. And let me ask you, why all you guys, you don't care about death? You don't care about Americans dying? It's called freedom of speech. It is freedom of speech. They're trying to take away America's freedom of speech. I'm right here in the MoshPit show. Look at the UK. I don't care about UK. We're American. We're much bigger than the UK. We're the ones, we're letting the UK go down. We're letting Europe go down because we're not backing them. We're letting Putin move on them. Hey, UK, this is America. Let's focus on America. We have our own timeline, and we're just allowing ourselves to turn into the USSR. You want to say UK, USSR. You guys know what the USSR is? The Union of Soviet Socialist Republics. Russia. That's what they are. They took over country after country. That we stopped. It ended. The people threw off the chains. And there we are. And now we're allowing them to come back in because Trump loves Putin. He just loves him. It's horrible. There we go. Glad to see you caring about people. We do care about people. It's funny. The ones freaking out the most are the most violent. Who's the most violent? Hold on, man, guy. I'm not a Democrat. I'm an American. You're not looking at the shots. The people doing the violence are ICE. Everything else has been nonviolent pretty much so far. Nobody's pulled out any guns and shot ICE. Nobody's gone and tried to attack ICE and go after them. Nobody. It's people taking camera shots. It's people sitting there and yelling and screaming at them. But you used to yell and scream at cops. Cops were taught, de-escalate. The ones freaking out, we're freaking out because Trump is sicking his national police on Americans. And people who are falling for his cult jive are not opening their eyes and seeing what the facts are, because once again, we hang alone or we hang together. And if we don't hang together, we're all in trouble. And he is splitting us up. The money, the guy, it's all splitting us up. Okay? Here we go. Putting caps doesn't mean anything. We got control for the next 24 years after Trump. Who knows anything? Anything can change 4 years later, 4 years after that. Who knows what Trump's doing? Trump's got all this year and 2 more years to try to do whatever he wants. An 80-year-old guy. 80. He's old. I wonder where his brain is. All he knows is power and hate. Power and hate. Okay? Power and hate. You have to say it enough so people understand when you see these guys wearing masks because they're hiding. What are you hiding from? They got the guns. They got the masks. They got the gas. They got everything, and they're hiding their face. Why? While they're getting their $50,000 bonus that we're all paying for? The Congress better stand up and say, this is going too far, because if this national police force gets any bigger, and then keep in mind what everybody's forgetting is that Hegseth has this strike force that he's been setting up in all the areas so he can send his strike force in when Trump says, oh, it's all over. What Trump wants is people to fight back. So the key is to be nonviolent and stand in front of them, put out the word, do podcasts, go out and talk, take videos, do what it takes, but be nonviolent so that people in America see that when nonviolent people are being beat up, people in America don't like it. And that's when morals start coming back. That's when things start coming back. Until then, it's a problem. It's a problem. James, you're right. They're proving it. There's freedom of speech is not tolerated. Spartacus, you're going crazy. I love you. Democrats push the ACA. Hold on, Christopher. Now we're going to go to the ACA. Bottom line is this. For 15 years, the Republicans had a chance to modify or change the ACA, and they did nothing. Zero. And now they're yelling and screaming and want some changes when people don't have the money to buy health care. They don't have the money to have that insurance. That's what you want. Now it's somebody else's fault when the Republicans did nothing. The cultists did nothing. Where was Trump's plans in 2016 to 2020? It was every 2 weeks, wasn't it, Joe? 2 weeks, 2 weeks, 2 weeks, 2 weeks. Now he's got another plan he's coming. The plan now is give money to people. Yeah, that works. You're going to negotiate with the big boys. You're going to negotiate with Humana or those guys or Cigna. What are we talking about? What a joke. That's doing nothing. Taking out Maduro. Yeah, but Brian, the Maduro people are still there in Venezuela. Taking them out was an attack. No, how was that an attack on Chinese or Russian interests? They weren't. They're getting some oil. He could have stopped the oil by doing a real blockade. And remember this: we got to have like a chunk of our Navy down there. We couldn't shut it down. Sure, we could. Maduro was dirt. Let's remember. I've said it. It's been on Just American Citizen August. What was it? 2017. I got a few of them up there. He was dirt. He deserved to be taken out, but we're not doing it now. And Cody, we're not seeing the modern end, the modem end of a modern end of a republic. I'm not sure what you're saying, but we are definitely seeing it going down. Joe, say something. Joe, I got to catch my breath. Joe, go.
It's hard to know what to say. It's I don't think there's any reasonable discussion in the mosh pit, and people see what they want to see. If the hypocrisy is just appalling. If under Biden's administration or Obama's administration, he had a force going around into Republican cities and was acting like this, the Republicans would be up in arms and the MAGAs would be going crazy. But there's no sense that people are interested in understanding the other person's perspective or solving problems. And so I don't see any solution to this.
The solution, Joe, I've been saying the solutions. We have to keep talking. People still have to be out there. You have to keep taking videos, and you got to call out the truth, and you got to put it out there, and you can't back down, and you got to hope you win big in 2026. And this is independence. We need the independents out there to jump up and down. They're the ones who put Trump in. They're the ones who got to take Trump out. It's really that simple. I
think we need to have some community where we can talk to independent-minded people who are interested in making the country better. I just don't see much evidence of that in the mosh pit right now.
Nobody wants to talk. How long ago did I say you guys, the mosh pit, haven't been looking at us? I kept saying it's all emotion. Joe kept saying it's all in the head. I said, Joe, there's no way. It's nothing. It's all emotion. People go from what their stomach tells them. They don't care about anything else. So it's easier just to yell and scream instead of reading. It's easier to yell and scream than to think. It's easier to yell and scream than to discover. It's easier to yell and scream than to check things out. It's easier to say that the moon is made out of green cheese than it is to actually say, gosh, I got to check into it. It's easier to say the sun rises in the west. Huh? Isn't that how it works? The west. Isn't that how it works? Because we have people in the cult. Because the cult says, I'm every person you need to be. Oh, I'm the cult of personality. Bottom line, that's Trump. That's Vance. That's Noam. How many more dogs does Noam want to kill? Just too much. Name one right that is to take away from you. Aaron, it's called the First Amendment. People are up there using videos. They're getting beaten up, taken down, cuffed. They're Americans and then dropped off a mile down the road when they see they're Americans. That's called taking away the First Amendment. You ever heard of the First Amendment? First Amendment's great. We don't have to call people clowns or anything else. Contribute to society. I don't know who that's to. Ronald Reagan, Republican. Well, let's throw something out to you, James. I don't know who your question was, but I voted for Ronald Reagan this second semester. Joe, when I told him that, he dropped his mouth open. I voted for George Bush the first, senior, his first term. I voted for George Bush his first term also. George Bush Jr. I'm sorry, his second term. His first term, I voted for Al Gore. So I have voted for Bush, and Reagan. So don't sit here and say that I just am on one side. I see it both sides. I may not agree with both sides. I may not agree with the other side, but I'm willing to say that if somebody else has a better argument or a better position, I'll vote for you. And I did. That's the real, man. That's the real. What else do we have here? She tried to run over. No, she didn't try to run over the agent, James. Even Joe Rogan saw it. He said she was turning the wheel. If you use your eyes and you look at the video, there's a close-up of her turning it. Okay. Now, should she have stopped when that other guy thug came up and started yanking her out of the car? Yeah. But at the same time, she didn't try to kill somebody. But the cop sure did. He had no problem taking her down. Did he? 1 in the head and 2 in the side. Who knows? He's taking 2 there. And he's walked away like nothing happened. And then he walked back calling her a fucking whatever. Right? Isn't that what he said? So that's the bottom line. These aren't riots. They're peaceful. There's no cozy. There's no fires. There's nobody getting shot on the other side. These are protesters getting taken down. Sorry, it's been nonviolent so far, and I hope it stays nonviolent because nonviolent wins. Send in the militia. Why, Lizard King? Send in the militia. What militia? What militia? I don't know what you're talking about. The militia? Come on. They didn't use their cars. You send the militia. Now who you want to send in? The National Guard? No, you want to send in the strike force, the Exit Strike Force? The Exit is so busy trying to go after 2 senators who used their First Amendment rights to state the truth, and now he's attacking 2 of them. That's what goes on? That's what goes on? Hand over their Second Amendment? Who's talking about handing over their Second Amendment? Did you hear me say anything about that, Joe? Somebody's talking about saying, I assume the question was to me. If the question is to me, there's the Second Amendment. But I sure don't want people using guns against the feds because it's wrong. It's not nonviolent. It's just that simple. What would happen if other citizens protected ICE? They're not going to because they don't want to because ICE are thugs. And if the people get near ICE, they'll just knock them over. Did you see the ICE guy the other day, Joe, who pushed a protest, who was standing in front of a truck, taking a picture, and standing in front of an ICE car, and they pushed him in front of a bus? Did you see that?
Yeah.
You didn't see that? Check that out online. People should check that stuff out. How great would that be if you got pushed in front of a bus by an ICE agent? He didn't care if the person died. He didn't care at all. I want those agents. I want them all around Alabama. I want them all around Mississippi. I want them all over Texas. Because, Joe, there are no illegals in Texas, are there? I'll bet you none, right? Because they're all just white Americans in Texas, aren't they? You start with the governor, who's a schmo, and they're leaving them alone because he gave him his National Guard troops. He gave Trump his National Guard troops to go into California. No way, Jose. They're interfering with ICE? Well, they should then. Their ability to enforce what law? The law is they also have their own regs they're breaking. Their law is that you're supposed to have investigations when they kill somebody. They're refusing to allow investigations. The federal lawyers are leaving. The federal prosecutors have quit because of the way that Christie Noem and Trump and Vance are handling this. They quit because they're not allowed to be in on the investigation. It's a cover-up. Cover up. You cover up Epstein. You cover up what went on in Venezuela. That was for drugs. Meanwhile, it was for oil. Now you're covering up here. You're covering up a killing. It's that simple. Oh, man. Liberals? Oh, no, liberals aren't clowns. They can be funny, but they're not clowns. You just kind of see. I don't see fear. I see paid protesters. Really, Lizard, where are the receipts? Joe, have you seen any receipts of these people being paid? I haven't seen any receipts. They do a lot of talking in the MoshPit, and thank you for coming in. I love the MoshPit. Right on. But talk the truth. Talk evidence. Talk real. It's just really sad. It's just really sad. It's just a lot of talk. It's far more tactical right now to be nonviolent. It sure is more tactical, and it's the right way to be. Because if you go back in American history and you look at the old black and white shots of people marching in the civil rights marches and getting taken down by Bull Connor and all these other sickos down there, George Wallace, what was his name? The other guy who had the axe stood in the way, Maddox. Governor Maddox, right? Another one was that in Georgia. All those guys, they were taking people out, and they didn't fight. They stood there. They took it. They took it. They went to jail. Dr. King, they all went to jail. Americans saw it, and Americans knew that it was wrong. They knew it was wrong. That's it. It's just that simple. Joe, tell me, Joe, am I wrong? It's devolution. These people are going backwards. The cult are devolving. We're going backwards. We're becoming snails with little tails, and the tails ain't even that big. And the tails are really TALES, tails of lies from Trump, from Vance, from Noam, and from the rest of them. That's simple. Left has morals. You want to tease it? Now we're talking about castration. So we're nowhere near any of that stuff, guys. We're talking ICE. We're talking what's going on in Minnesota. We're talking about the leaders of this country having no problem saying that these guys they have total protection. They're totally immune from any type of prosecution. They can do what they want. They're immune, just like Trump. That's what they're saying. That's sick. Joe, say something. I took it from you today, huh? You can't get it out. Joe's blood pressure is rocking right now. That's the problem. You don't see it. I know, Joe. Go ahead, Joe. How's it looking?
I don't know. Are people really interested in solving any issues, or they're just interested in venting and expressing hatred to other people? I think
that's all it is. I think that's all it is. And people say, well, if you get mad at ICE and this, you're venting, you're being violent. No, you're not. They're the ones with the guns.
We have a crazy guy in the White House who's clearly venting all his anger and frustration and probably feelings of incompetence and mortality and all that. And it's reflected in the whole country. It's really a shame.
He opened up the Pandora box for his cultists to go crazy. 80 years old, Joe. He's lost. 80 years old, but he's been pushed by the Supreme Court, the supines, for him to do whatever he wants. And
he's been able to intimidate a lot of people, and he's never been held accountable, and he continues not to be held accountable. And this is what you get when somebody with the personality style that he has no guardrails. You get this kind of stuff, and unfortunately, it's affecting a lot of people.
Buck nasty. All hail King Trump, more like an emperor. I'm with you. All hail Emperor Trump. He had no clothes. Just think how sick that would be looking at him with no clothes. Thinks he's in such great shape. But he runs around and he sure takes too much aspirin. I don't know why. So we're losing it. We're losing our rights. We have ICE coming after us. And Joe, I'm saying next Sunday, let's see where we go. Let's see where we are. I love the MoshPit. Most of you guys are just mad. All I ask you is this. Be Kash Patel. Open your eyes like Kash Patel. Open them like he does it. Open them. See if you can at least see something. He can't see much. See if you can see something. Take the facts. Run with the facts and think. Forget that you liberals, conservatives. We are Americans. Red, white, and blue. And that's where we are. Aaron Trump is the beast, not the best. The beast. Though I would let Joe talk about religion with that, but I'm not going to let him get started. But he is the beast. Joe, I say one more time. I'm every person you need to be. Oh, I'm the cult of personality. That's Donald Trump. Okay? And people roll and ran with it. Ran with it. There's a monster on the loose. It's got our heads into a noose. And we just sit there watching. America, where are you now? Don't you care about your sons and daughters? Don't you know we need you now? We can't fight alone against the monster. Joe, if you're square, we ain't there. Check out Just an American Citizen. Please subscribe. We're back Sunday at 11. Rocking and just cooking. We love this and we love you all. And that's the way it is.
Period.
We'll see you Sunday.